Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Frivolous Podcast, episode 19. I'm your host, Jacob. Happy to be back. And if you're watching the video, you can already tell that things are a little different. And to explain why, I am currently filming in a different spot than I normally do. I don't really have a reason, honestly. To be honest with you guys, this setup is actually way easier for me. I don't have to move anything. The other setup, I have to move a bunch of stuff, and I've got to get a bunch of cords and stuff. And so I was just feeling kind of lazy. I'm actually squeezing this in, as messed up as it sounds. That sounds very messed up to say that, but I have, with work starting up, I've been pretty busy just with a bunch of stuff. So it's like I haven't had as much time as I would like for this, and so I've kind of just I'm just kind of squeezing it in right now. And so that's why it wouldn't have taken too long to set it up, but I also kind of just wanted to try this out and see like the quality of it and see if it's a good quality or bad quality or whatever, because I am curious, because if this is actually something that I think is feasible, then I can do it when I'm by myself. I mean, obviously the original setup would make sense if I had a guest on, but since I'm not doing guests nearly as frequently, I do think this setup could make more sense for just like solo episodes, or if I have a guest on that's like we're talking through Discord or like digitally video chatting, then I would be talking from here. So it's kind of preparing you for that when those happen as well, because I do think those will be happening, especially if I get a co-host. I think realistically, if I get a co-host, which is a plan and a goal of mine, we would probably do most of them like virtually, not because I don't want to see whoever my co-host would be, my friends, but like it would just be a lot easier to manage schedules that way. And no, but it's not, I don't want to make somebody have to drive, to me, especially if they live, even if they only live like 20 minutes away, it's still like, I'll feel like it's a burden. So anyways, if you're not even watching it, you don't even care. So I'm just going to move on. It's the video. I will say the video aspect of it is not my priority. It's not my, what should you say? It's not like, I'm not stressing about it too much. If I'm putting it out, I want it to be good quality. I don't want it to like be bad, but I don't, the audio is what's most important, because that's where most of my listeners come from. But if you're watching the video, I do appreciate you. And I think this looks good, honestly. I think this looks good. I got a new chair recently, too, so I think I really just wanted to show that off. But yeah, I think this isn't bad, and like I said, it's way easier for me, and I can kind of just hop right into it, as opposed to, like, I do dread having to set up and then clean up after, my podcast. But if I don't have to do that, it makes my life easier, so. Anyways, I talked about that for way too long. I'm sorry. I really do go on like the worst tangents. I feel like I just continuously, talk and whatnot. And my chair is squeaky. I hope you guys can't hear that. I just won't move. I'm just gonna not move too much, and we'll be good. Man, this podcast is off the rails. We're midway through September, which is crazy. Last episode I think aired, was it the 1st of September? Yeah, I'm doing the math in my head. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it's crazy. Like, we're like halfway through September, about halfway through. When this airs, it'll be basically the halfway mark, which means we're almost done with summer. Fall's about to officially hit in a few days, which is, again, like I said a few episodes ago, the best time of the year. Super excited about it. I still have a ton of really good plans for October, so do not stress about that. I want this podcast in October to do really well. Like, not from a numbers standpoint. Like, I want to get the most views. I want like me to make it like the best it's been in October. Like, I mean, I want it to be the best always, but I'm gonna put a lot of time and effort into that, so I'm gonna try to make it really good. And when I put my time and effort into it, I know I can make it good, but I just don't always have time, or I don't always give the maximum effort that I should. Anyways, I don't honestly like. It's going to be a shorter episode, too. I don't know if I said that. I don't know. I'm just all over the place. It's going to be a shorter episode because, like I said, I'm trying to squeeze it in, so I don't have the maximum time that I would like, okay? I've got other things to do today. I'm filming this on Monday. It's the beginning of the week for me, so I've kind of got to, like, squeeze in my normal Monday routine, which you guys don't care about. I'm not going to, like, bore you with my day-to-day logistics and daily chores or whatever. Anyway, never mind. I was gonna over-explain something, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, I work with kids, as you guys know, and I have the weirdest encounters. Like, you just, when you're working with kids, you just get the weirdest moments, and like, you get some really good ones. Do not get me wrong. Like, you get moments that like really like warm your heart, or like to make you feel like really good and make you feel like you're actually making a difference and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. That's the boring stuff. You guys want to hear about the weird things kids are saying and the weird things they're doing. So that's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm going to tell you. So today, for example, and this is just a very minor example, like this is just something that happened, and I wasn't even going to talk about it, but obviously it happened, and I think it's funny because it just shows like how weird and random kids can be. So I go into the lunchroom, and when I go into the lunchroom, it's kindergarten through 6th grade is in there at the time. No, actually, sorry, kindergarten through 8th grade is in there. So the entire elementary is down there. And I go in, and I typically have kindergarten PE on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'll have it like shortly after lunch. But I go in there, and I'm just like saying hi to the kids because they all like to come say hi to me and whatnot. And so I see some first and second graders come say hi to me, and they give me a hug and whatever, blah, blah, blah. A first grader comes up to me. She's like, hey. And I was like, oh, hi, how's it going? And she's just like, apples. And I was like, what? And she had apples with her lunch, but she was like, yeah, she was like, I have apples. And I was like, oh. Like, she was so excited that was what she needed to tell me. Like, she didn't want to say, like, I'm good, or what? She didn't want to say good or, like, anything else. She just wanted to blurt out apples. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's what we're doing. Okay. But, like, that just shows how random kids are. Like, I unprompted, I appreciate that she thinks I really wanted to know about her apples, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't fully care, but it's nice that she shared it with me. It was very funny. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, you have apples. That's, I'm sure most kids do. I don't know. That's just, again, that was a minor example, but there was this one that happened, like, no joke. It was like the second day of school, I swear, if I'm remembering correctly. And this second grader she was at school last year. She was talking to me, and somehow her mom got brought up and whatnot. And so she started talking about it. She was like, yeah, she was just talking like casually. This was casual talk. It wasn't like anything sad. And she was like, yeah, a lot of my mom's friends are dying. And I was like, what? Oh my God. Like, what do you say to that? You know what I mean? I was like, oh my goodness, like, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. But the shock factor to it just almost makes you go, what? Like, it was hard to not have a reaction because you're not expecting that. You're just never expecting that. Like, there's it's just crazy. Like, and again, another example, the kids are so, I mean, that situation's horrible because that's like a legitimate story, but kids also like to just go to like the darkest and like the worst place possible with anything that happens. Like, there's this one kid, another second grader, his dad was late picking him and his sister up, so he comes up to me. First of all, actually, his sister came up to me and was like, if my dad's late, he's probably got in a car crash. And I was like, there's plenty of other reasons why your dad is like 5 minutes late. It's not that big of a deal. And then so they go inside for like latchkey or whatever, and I go in there to like, I needed to talk to one of the teachers, and the kid, her little brother comes up to me, and he's like, there's only 2 reasons why my dad could be late. Reason number 1, he got stuck in traffic, or reason number 2, he's dead. And I was just like, you're so dramatic, dude. Like, there's only 1 or 2. There's only 2 reasons. There's nothing in between. It couldn't have been he got stuck. He's like at work late. He had to, run an errand. No. He's either in traffic or he's dead. Nothing in between. I'm like, you are so dramatic. And you can tell that they're siblings, by the way, because they both go to really bad scenarios, car crash, and then he goes into the scenario where his dad's dead. I'm just like, my goodness. Like, it's just so funny. I don't remember thinking like that when I was a kid. I don't know if I probably did. I'm not trying to say like the kids these days, this generation coming up is messed up. Like, I don't feel that way at all. But I do not remember when I was a kid, like that age, if my thought process and my like mental state was like that, where I was just like, all right, there's only 2 options here. One's normal and good, and the other one's just absolutely horrific and bad. Like, there's no possible like middle ground for any of this. It's really funny. Like, the kids, they're so, they say the funniest things. I like those. Like I said, those are just a couple examples, just to give you an idea of like what my daily life is at work. Like, that's basically as I get like almost questions or like comments or things like that almost on a daily basis. It's honestly kind of crazy. Like, it gets like overwhelming to remember it all, because like they'll say something and I'll be like, oh my goodness, and then like I'll want to write it down, but I forget to write it down because I'm busy working, and then I'll just forget about it all in all. So the ones that I ever tell you guys are just the few that I remember, and I promise you that there are many, many more that are out there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the stories about the kids that I work with because they're funny, and some of my friends like to ask me about it sometimes. They're like, hey, you got any like funny things that the kids said or whatever, and they like to hear about it because it really is like crazy the mind of a kid. I do wish a little bit, not fully, but I do wish like that didn't go away. Like there was still a part of us that like kind of had that thought process where it's like we were just super random and like kind of just said what we were thinking and stuff like that. I mean, to a degree that would be good as an adult. Obviously, like it wouldn't be good in certain situations, certain scenarios, but I do think it would make things more interesting and kind of, I think it could potentially also make life better if you just have people that are just like, they're thinking so far like out of the box that like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I would have never thought of that. But like if you asked a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or whatever to make a game, like, hey, we're going to play a game. Like, do you want to make the game? They would make the game within 5 minutes, no joke, and they would have the rules figured out, and they would just have it. Like, they can think of it just like on the spot and make it up, and it can be like actually a really good game, honestly, or it could be really bad either way. But still, like their creativity, they can do it like instantly. If you were to ask me right now, like, hey, create a game. You have a class in 5 minutes for PE. You got to create a game for these like 18 third and fourth graders. You can figure it out. And you have 5 minutes to do it, I would not be able to think of anything. I'd be like, I would not be able to come up with something that's like new or original or like a variation of a game. I'd be like, all right, dodgeball, a relay race, like, you know what I mean? I'd have to think of something that's like boring, but like a kid would come up with a brand new game that no one's ever played before. Anyways, we'll move on. I felt like last episode, honestly, I ranted a little too hard about the things I talked about, but there is a but. I do want to talk about Marvel again real quick. Real quick. Just bear with me. Bear with me, guys. I know. But I will say, and there's been a lot of, I guess hate is the right word. Yeah, a lot of hate and backlash. Not backlash. That's the totally wrong word. But a lot of people have not liked the new She-Hulk TV show that Marvel has come out with. They don't like, the writing of it. They don't like the animation. Yeah, like the visual effects and stuff like that. And I will say this. I feel a little bit validated that a lot of people aren't liking the new stuff Marvel's come out with. Like, and I know it is definitely different than what they came out with, with Avengers, like Infinity War and whatnot. But for me, I'm just like, okay. Like, I'm like, people are starting to see kind of what I've been seeing all along, which makes me feel validated. It doesn't make me right, by the way. It does not make me right at all. Again, if you love Marvel, if you're like a diehard Marvel, like you will defend them till you're dead or whatever. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I do not have anything against it. And like I said, there are a lot of Marvel movies that I do genuinely enjoy. I just think there is a lot of hype around them, and a lot of them are praised as being some of the best movies ever, when I just think I just have a hard time viewing a superhero movie as one of the best movies ever. I think superhero movies can be very good movies, like The Dark Knight. I think is a very good Batman. It's a very good Batman movie, and it's a very good movie. And you can say it's like, oh, you can say it's one of your favorites, just like Avengers Endgame or Avengers Infinity War or whatever. You can say that's one of your favorites, but I just have a hard time being like, oh, that's a top 5 movie of all time. It can be a personal top 5 movie of all time. Like Dark Knight for me is probably one of my top 5 favorites, but I don't think like it's peak cinema. Like I would say, I don't even know what an example would be. But you know what I mean? When you think of like a classic film, like you think like Shawshank Redemption, Schindler's List, Clockwork Orange, stuff like that, I have a hard time putting like a superhero movie up against that, because with a superhero movie, we kind of already know the story, for the most part. And I guess Avengers is a bit of an exception. Like most of the time, like 99% of the time, the heroes are going to win, the villain's going to lose, and like that's it. Obviously in Endgame, a couple heroes died, actually. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. A couple of them died, so it's like that's not typical, which I will give Marvel credit. It's not typical to kill off, very big and prominent superheroes like they did. But at the end, the villain lost and the good guys won, right? Which is, of course, what's going to happen. It's a superhero movie. That's how it has to be. You don't have superheroes without that type of thing. I guess the only exception would be Infinity War, where technically they didn't win yet because Thanos had snapped half the universe into dust or whatever. So I guess that's an exception as well. But other than that, it's like you when you're watching a superhero movie, obviously you kind of know how it's going to end. You have a general idea, like, all right, it could be a cliffhanger, or or like something. But for the most part, like the hero's more than likely going to live and he's more than likely going to win or somehow. And that's, to me, it's like if a movie is that predictable and you go in kind of, you go in knowing what to expect for the most part. You can be mind blown by the writing, the visuals, the lighting, directing, whatever you want. But like, in your back of your head, like, all right, for the most part, the good guys are going to win somehow in some way. But if you go into a movie like, I don't want to use that as an example because that was based off a short story. But if you go in like a Jordan Peele movie, I'll use Jordan Peele because I love Jordan Peele. As you can, I think it's in the background of my shot. I think you can see it. I have a poster of it in behind me. You go into a Jordan Peele movie, you do not know how that movie is going to end, and you do not know what the twist is going to be. You do not know like every single detail about the story, and to me, that's interesting and that makes it good. And I'm using him as an example because he's one of my favorite directors and writers of currently. I shouldn't say currently. I would just say of all time because the stuff he does is awesome. Even though I haven't seen Nope yet, unfortunately, I have not seen the new one, but Us and Get Out are two of my favorite movies I've ever seen. They're just very, very good pieces of film. And the thing that was good about them, obviously, they were, I wouldn't say they were scary. They were more thrillers, but they were intense, that you're kind of on the edge of your seat. Some of them made you feel kind of anxious. Like, I felt very anxious in both Get Out and Us. And I saw Us in theaters. I just saw Get Out at home. But when I watched Us in theaters, I was very anxious the whole time. And just, like, it was very creepy, the thought of, like, basically a tethered version of yourself that you just don't even know about. And it's, like, eventually they're just going to come to get you. That is scary. And the thing is, like, you just don't expect that. Like, what you have you leave with a lot of questions in those type of movies, and I think that's a good movie. If a movie does not answer all your questions, I think that is the sign of a good movie. If you can leave it and being like, man, I don't know entirely what happened. Like, I'm confused about this part and this part and this part. That's typically the sign of a good movie. It's either the sign of a good movie or the sign of really bad writing. Like, you're like, all right, they just did not give you any context clues or give you enough information to work with, and it just kind of made you guess, or like they left it like a mystery on purpose, which is what Jordan Peele does. If you watch Jordan Peele's interviews, like when he did interviews after Us came out, there were a lot of questions because there were a lot of things unanswered. There was a lot of question marks around the film because there's a lot of mystery to it, but that was intentional. And he in one of the interviews, or all of them, but I've only seen a couple of them, he came out and said, like, that's for the viewer to decide type of thing. It's, he wants each person to interpret it in their own way. So, I mean, I may interpret it one way, and then you may interpret it a different way, or we may interpret it the same ways, but like how I view it is not going to be the same how everybody else views it, which is cool. I think that's a cool thing, because then if you talk about the movie to someone, you'd be like, oh, and in the ending, like when this happened, they'd be like, oh, I thought, I didn't think that happened. I thought this happened. And you have like a discussion about it, and then you can see their point of view on it. They can see your point of view on it, and then you can maybe change your point of view or vice versa, or maybe you'll stick with yours, but it can be like, oh, that does make sense. Honestly, I don't know, actually. So I think that's good. Like Inception's a great example of that too. Inception, when he spins the top, I don't know what it's called, I don't know, but just like the spinning top thing, and it keeps spinning at the end, and you're just kind of like, is it gonna fall? Is it a dream? And then the movie stops, so you don't know. The people that wrote the movie know. Christopher Nolan knows. Leonardo DiCaprio knows. Joseph Gordon-Levitt knows. They all know, but we don't know. And I think that's cool. I think that's cool. That's like, I could think, oh, he's in a dream, or I could think it's real life, and either way, I'm right, and either way, you're right. So I like those types of movies. That was a weird tangent. I'm realizing what my original point was, but I liked what I talked about. But my original point was about Marvel. But anyways, again, I'm not hating on Marvel, because if you look before the second Avengers, I really liked what Marvel did. I liked Iron Man. It would be, if you're saying plural. I liked the Iron Man movies. I liked Thor movies. I think there was 2 before the second Avengers came out. I'm not sure. The Captain America movie was okay. Wasn't bad, but wasn't great. I don't know what else I'm missing. Avengers 1 was good. But anyways, so like I do think that they did good stuff, but like I said, once you get to the point where you have 80 superheroes in the Avengers and they still can't stop one dude, it gets a little ridiculous to me. But again, and my dad brought up a good point. So this is I do favor DC a bit. I shouldn't say DC. I favor Batman a bit, and he's my favorite superhero. But I tend to like bring Batman up as counterexamples to what Marvel does, and that's first of all because Batman's the only good counterexample there is, because the rest of DC's counterexamples are horrible. So obviously, if you're comparing Marvel to DC, Marvel blows DC out of the water 10 times out of 10. I can admit that. But Batman, my dad said they're like the reason that I like he thinks that I like them is because all the villains, when you think about the villains or even the people in the Batman universe, you got obviously Bruce Wayne, you've got Catwoman, Selena Kyle, you've got the Joker, you've got Bane, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc. Well, I guess Killer Croc's not a good example, so we won't use Killer Croc as an example. Well, yeah, we won't use him as an example. But when you get look at those villains, and what do they all have in common? They're all human, right? Which I mentioned last episode. But they all have like something wrong with them. Like they're not, you know what I mean? And my dad said he thinks that that's the reason I like it, because obviously I have a psychology degree, and which does not mean that I'm different. That was really, I don't like that I said that. That sounds like I'm like flexing. I have a psychology degree, so I like people that are weird. Like, no, that's, a lot of people find stuff like that fascinating. So I'm not trying to like, anyways, I find that stuff like that interesting, like people who like are mentally ill. Like, I don't find it like interesting in like a good way. It's interesting to research as to why we can become that way. Which is why I find like stuff, like true crime stuff. I find that very interesting. Like, my fiance and I have been watching every so often some true crime documentaries and stuff like that, and I find it very fascinating from like a psychological perspective. I don't encourage that behavior, and I wish we didn't have to have this kind of documentaries, but it is very interesting to kind of not get in the mind of a killer, but to kind of see what their thought process was and like kind of how they became this way and so on and so forth. And in the Batman universe, that's how it is. Like they all went crazy one way, or not crazy, but they all have their own mental issues and mental illness. Even Bruce Wayne himself. I mean, his parents were killed when he was like 6 or 7, really young, and he was raised by his butler. But he's a billionaire, if not more. He's he's a billionaire. His name is known everywhere. His dad's name was known everywhere, and he's got that burden with his parents being gone, and he's kind of. Then he for some reason, and because his parents were killed, he has this inner need to fight crime so that what happened to him doesn't happen to other kids in Gotham. So it's very interesting. You could do stuff like that for every villain. There's a reason, something made them that way. Like whether some of them could have just been born that way, but like something along the way just kind of turned them evil, or turned obviously in Bruce Wayne's case turned him into the Caped Crusader. Is he the Caped Crusader? It's not Superman, is it? I don't know. I might have messed that up. Anyways, he's the Dark Knight. I should have just said that. But I hope that makes sense. Like, again, I'm not dissing Marvel's villains, because there are some really good ones. I first of all, Loki's a great villain. I don't know if you can consider him a villain anymore, but he was introduced as a villain, and he still is awesome. He's awesome. Like, Loki is one of my favorite Marvel characters. I will admit that hands down. Tom Hiddleston? Yeah, it's Hiddleston. There's Tom Hiddleston, and there's Thomas Middleditch, or Hiddles, I don't know, something like that. Tom Hiddleston is Loki and in Crimson Peak, and Thomas Middleditch he's one of the voices in Solar Opposites. Anyways, it doesn't matter. No one cares. I just always get them mixed up, and I probably got them mixed up here too, for all I know. But anyways, yeah, like Loki's a great villain. I think Thanos is, to be honest, Thanos is a good villain, but like, again, without the gauntlet, like, what is he? You know what I mean? Like, Loki's got his stuff. I mean, obviously Thanos has got his stuff too, but it's like Loki, it's like he's the god of mischief, and stuff like that. I think. Oh my goodness, I should stop saying stuff that I'm not for sure on, because I'm just gonna somebody to comment like, actually Loki is not, and when he was born, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Same with Thanos, and to be fair, I haven't seen Endgame or Infinity War. I just know the premise and the what happens in all of them. But anyways, I was talking about She-Hulk, and I went in that tangent. Anyways, She-Hulk's getting. My issue with She-Hulk was just the animation. I think she looks like Fiona from Shrek, and I just think the animation should have been better. Yeah, and her twerking with Megan Thee Stallion is it's just a bit like off the rails to me. And that was what I mentioned last week, where I was saying like, I don't love like the type of dialogue and the type of quote unquote humor that they try to put into Marvel stuff. I don't mind humor in superhero movies. I do not mind that at all. And some of it's like Tony Stark, it was very funny in his movies. Like, a lot of stuff he said is very funny. But like, I don't find, like that twerking scene was not needed. And like I said, I don't watch She-Hulk, but I've seen it, and I know my dad watches it and stuff. I'm just like, I just feel like the animation could have been better. Some of the writing from what I saw was really like, just really not great. It was very like corny dialogue, and I just don't like that. It just seems like the show is rushed for whatever reason, and that just bugs me because we all know Marvel can do so much better. Like, they can do. I mean, I can't even think of a TV show that they did really well right now. Like Loki. I think Loki was a great show. I think a lot of people liked it. I haven't personally watched it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people liked Loki. And it's like, you can do stuff like that, but they're like just not. And I think people liked WandaVision too. I can't think of any others right now. Loki, WandaVision. There was the Falcon and Winter Soldier. She-Hulk. My goodness, my brain is just melting. But yeah, I think people, I just don't get how they went from what they did to like what they're doing now. And to be fair, I do get it. Like, they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit because like they had this really good system and they had these really good run of like insane movies from like Iron Man 1 in like 2007 or 2008 or whatever to Avengers Endgame that came out in like 2016 or 17 or whatever, that they all tied together, you know, like over a 10-year period, and all the movies tied together and they were leading up to one another, and then they finally had this like end thing, and they had this just really good movie after movie after movie. And so it's like now, you know, they're trying to move away from all that because you can't keep, you know, you can't have 17 Iron Man movies. I mean, I'm sure people would watch it. I'd probably watch it. It's Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. That's a very funny. He is Tony Stark. He does such a phenomenal job doing that. But you're gonna run out of stuff to write. So it's like, all right, we got to move on to something else. And so I think they're trying to go to a different path. But it's just like everybody's gonna compare what they're doing now to Endgame, Infinity War. Like, it's just, like I said, they shot themselves in the foot for being just way too good. Everybody's expectations are way up here when they probably should realistically be like lowered a bit, just because they're kind of back down to earth. You know what I mean? They were so high and like riding on this like awesome wave of just like adrenaline and just pure like entertaining movies, and now it's like they're actually releasing stuff that people don't like, which they're not very used to, in my opinion. I don't think they're very used to that, so they're kind of like, wait, what's happening? And like I said, it's understandable. They were too good too fast. Jordan Peele's a good example of that too. His first movie, Get Out, was insane. Everybody was talking about like, man, the guy from Key and Peele, like he wrote a horror thriller movie that like had a bunch of twists and turns and like really made you think, and it was a psychological thriller, like it messed with your brain and made you think. Like, it was awesome. Again, that was one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think it's one of the best movies of all time, if we're being honest. It's like, that's crazy. And then he comes out with Us, which I still personally really liked Us. I would have it lower than Get Out, but he comes out with Us, and everybody's going to compare Us to Get Out when, first of all, they're different movies. But Get Out was so good that unless Us was insane, which it was insane, but like not to the Get Out level, like it's gonna be viewed as worse than Get Out because it's being compared to Get Out, and it's just like, that's unfair to Jordan Peele, that's unfair to the movies, but that's just what happens when you come out with one movie or one set of movies or whatever that are so good. Everything else you do from that point on is going to be compared to, you know, the first thing that you did. I mean, I guess you could say something like that about Quentin Tarantino, but I don't know. It's a bit different with him too. But it is just funny because it's like, man, we did so good so fast, and like we were just riding that wave, and now it's like, man, now we're not doing the best. So it's like now what? I think honestly, everybody that's listening and watching this, I need you guys to just tweet, Facebook message, LinkedIn, MySpace, you know, Instagram, whatever, whoever, you know, talk to the people at Marvel and be like, hey, they need to hire me as a writer. Listen, I would shell out for Marvel. First of all, I talk a lot of crap, so they probably wouldn't. I'd have to delete this podcast, but or at least the episodes I just talk about Marvel. But I would write for them in a heartbeat, and I would make it really good, in my opinion. That's such a bold and like arrogant thing to say. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I can do better than the people who get paid, and their actual job is to write for this show or whatever. I just think they need an outside perspective. I'm not saying I would make She-Hulk, you know, the greatest TV show of all time. But if you just let me go in, we talk a little bit, talk about the dialogue a little bit, I can be like, all right, I get where you guys are coming from, but you should probably change it up a little bit, you know, just like do a little tinkering here and there, and we would have great shows, you know. So it's really their fault that they're not hiring me. I'm just kidding. I'm obviously kidding about that. I mean, I would work for them in a heartbeat, but I don't think that I would be, you know, the difference maker to save Marvel. Also, I think Marvel's big problem is too, the last thing I'm going to say about it, and it's not Marvel's fault. Well, it kind of is, but it's not, because I understand it from a financial and a business standpoint. them being bought by Disney, I think, hurt them more than it helped them because, and I will say the same thing about Star Wars too, because I mean, obviously it's good for, the people who created those from a financial standpoint, a business standpoint, and just like the promotion. Obviously Star Wars and Marvel they both have rides and attractions and stuff in places like Disneyland and Disney World and whatnot. So it's like, obviously, like, you're still getting the attention and all that, but you become more limited because you have the Disney stamp, and you have to get that Disney stamp of approval, and they're a lot more strict on what they allow and the type of things that they are okay with compared to, just if Marvel was doing it itself through like 20th Century Fox or Paramount Pictures or, just an example, or Universal or whoever. So I think that that's something that hurts them at the end. Again, I understand it, and it probably helped them get a little more popular, but from like a writing standpoint, I think that's why they have more corny like dialogue and stuff, is because they're trying to like make everything family friendly when it's like not. If you look at Batman, again, I'm using Batman as an example, I do not consider, the Batman that just came out with Robert Pattinson, that's not a family friendly movie. It's not like, oh, your kid shouldn't see it, but like it's definitely like, it's dark, it's a bit, it's more violent in my opinion. It's it's slow, it's kind of creepy a bit, and then the Riddler acts like Jigsaw basically. So I think that's kind of what superhero movies kind of need to be a little bit more. And, they have that corny dialogue that I think Disney's kind of like, hey, yeah, make it so the whole family can watch it. When I bet you the people that are writing it, like, hey, before you guys came along, like, we were writing Iron Man 1 and 2 and Thor and Avengers 1. I don't know when I don't know when Disney bought them. So I might have not be correct on some of those movies, because some of those movies could have come out after Disney bought them. But it's like, these movies did really well, and a lot of families liked them, and we did fine, so maybe just let us do our thing. So that's my opinion on it. I think Disney, they're a little. I'm not a huge fan of Disney, I'll be honest. Like, the way they, first of all, monopolize everything is annoying, but second, like, just how controlling they are over what is released and whatnot is very. It's just weird to me. Like, let things be. You don't have to be PG all the time. And I know the superhero movies aren't PG, but it's like you can let things happen. Like, the real world is crazy and it's scary, and there's a lot of there's swearing, there's violence, there's blood, there's gore, there's all these different things. Like, the world is not a great place. But it's like Disney likes to be like, all right, well, if superheroes were real, it'd be a little crazy, but they would save us. And it's like, hey, that's probably not true. If superheroes were real, we would be living in what The Boys is right now. The Boys is an absolute example of what it would be like if we had superheroes. And you can't argue that. Yeah, there would be some that genuinely want to help, but you would have your Homelanders 100%. If you were a being that was just superior to everybody, who was like, I don't want to say immortal, but I mean basically like not immortal. It's like only like one thing could kill you, if that. It's like you would get an ego. Like, you wouldn't be like. I really don't think you would be like, Captain America or Thor. Well, Thor's not from Earth, but or Iron Man or whatever. You would get an ego, and you would be like, oh, I'm better than everybody, and you would do what's best for you. And honestly, like, the way, if you watch the show, like they're all about the way that the heroes are perceived, and there's publicity, and like they can't save people. They're not supposed to save people if there aren't cameras around, and this and that, blah blah blah. It's like that's realistically how it would be compared to like what it is in real life. So it's like, I kind of wish Disney would just not stress so much. Just let the heroes be the heroes. Let bad things happen to the heroes. Let them not say corny dialogue. You don't have to make every moment have potential humor or anything like that. You can have just serious moments for an entire 2-hour superhero movie. That's basically how the Batman movie was, and that's how. I mean, you can't. It's hard because Tony Stark was really funny, so I can't use Iron Man as an example. But like, Iron Man would be like that if it wasn't for Tony Stark. But he was just naturally funny. That's an example of good dialogue, because the character itself is just witty, and that's his personality. But when you try to force it, like, oh, the villain's right behind me, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, let's not do that, please. Anyways, we don't stand Disney around here. If you want to stand Marvel, that's fine, but we don't stand Disney. We're not Disney stans. I'm just not a fan. We're not Nickelodeon stans either, okay? Because Dan Schneider, we don't stand them because of Dan Schneider, but that's a different story. All right. We're going to be ending it soon, and we're going to do a little bracket fight, though. We'll do a little rank up, okay? A little rank up action. So, this one is going to be controversial as well. I need to just spend not a whole day, but I need to spend like an hour or so making my own, because I do have ideas for some, but like I can't find good ones on the website that like fit what I want. So I have to like actually, make them myself, which, I'm lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm just busy. But this one I did not make myself. I haven't made like most of these. I think the last one I made was probably the one with Anthony. Anyways, but I will give you, I'm just gonna, should I spoil some of them for you? I do plan on ranking something like I'm gonna rank like water bottle brands. I'm gonna rank like types of cheese. I'm gonna rank my personal favorite TV shows. I want to rank that for you guys because I did my movies, but I haven't done TV shows yet. So I do have ideas. But if you have ideas too, you can always comment and let me know. Anyways, we're doing the ultimate snack rank up here. So this is just somebody made this, and it's just random snacks that you would have potentially around your house. I'm pretty sure all these are like super common. I didn't look through the right side of the bracket. I just realized, but it's okay. And I don't know if it's not a huge bracket, but it'll get the job done. Anyways, the first matchup is a no-brainer for me, but a lot of people will disagree with me for it. But I will explain. We have Snack Pack, which is chocolate pudding, or you could just say pudding in general, versus Honey Made graham crackers. I'm choosing Honey Made graham crackers 100%, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Before you get mad at me, before any of my friends start to text me or whatever, I do not like pudding. And here's why. I used to, but it was one of those things. I think this is like what I'm pretty sure happened. When I was a kid, I had pudding like almost every day in my lunch. I think I ate it so much as a kid that I just got tired of it, like to the point where I would gag. Like there was I remember one time I was probably first grade maybe. I went to go eat my pudding and I like gagged. I didn't throw up or anything, but I like gagged, and it almost makes me sick thinking about it. And I'm very tempted to try it again, but like I don't know if I can mentally get my mind past it because your body changes every 7 years, so I could like it again for all I know. But that is why I'm putting the graham crackers above the pudding, is because I personally like can't eat it anymore. So don't be hating on that, okay? If you're a pudding lover, then that's okay. But I have my valid reasons there. Next up, we have the Cheetos, just the crunchy Cheetos versus Scooby-Doo graham crackers. I don't think I've had Scooby-Doo graham crackers, but I mean, I'm going the crunchy Cheetos anyways. Those are just classic. And I already have graham crackers that went through, so. Next, I have Snyder's pretzel pieces versus animal crackers. Animal crackers all day. I don't even know what Snyder's pretzel pieces are, but animal crackers 100%. They're so good. I actually thought about those the other day. Those and like the frosted animal cookies or whatever. I thought about those too. They both sound really good. I'm 12 years old, so that's cool. Next we have kettle chips. Ooh, jalapeno kettle chips versus Hostess Ding Dongs. I've had jalapeno kettle chips. They're solid, but kettle chips themselves aren't great. I think they're technically quote unquote healthier. I'm not saying that they're healthy, but they're healthier than like a normal tortilla, like a tortilla or potato chip. But and jalapeno flavored chips, like jalapeno cheddar or just jalapeno, I love. But I'm gonna go ding dongs. I haven't had a ding dong in a long time, but they're fun to say, ding dong, and they're also pretty tasty, ding dong. So like I gotta go with that. Next up, we have zebra cakes, which is like, it looks like it's almost little. Is it Little Debbie or Lil Debbie? It's Little Debbie. She's not a rapper. It's Little Debbie. Wait, is it? Yeah, it is Little. It's not Lil. Okay, sorry, I had to double check. Yeah, she's not a rapper. It's Little Debbie. But if she was a rapper, it'd be Lil. But it's like zebra cakes. It looks like their version of a ding dong, basically, versus Orville Redenbacher popcorn, which is some of the best popcorn that you can buy just for your home. It's very good. I love that. I don't love popcorn. I have it like maybe once every like 6 weeks or so. I don't have it very often. But like when I do, I'm like, all right, this is good. But the only thing that sucks about popcorn, I'm still going to pick it to go through because I'm not going to hold this against them right now, but I probably will next round. It's just that you're always picking something out of your teeth, man. There's like, you never eat popcorn and then like you're good. Like you got to like, use your tongue or your finger to like pick something out of your teeth. And like sometimes you can't find it. That is the only thing that is annoying about it. It tastes good. Like, so I want to put it through because of that, but man, like the chore of afterwards, and like I have a bottom retainer that's always in, so I sometimes get stuff stuck in there, and man, it is just absolutely annoying. All right, we have Lay's classic chips versus, sorry, I gotta zoom in. Little Debbie mini frosted donuts, and it's just like the chocolate version. It's not like the powdered. I actually really like those mini frosted donuts. Those are really good to me, but the problem is I could eat like a whole bag in one sitting because I have no self-control, I guess. And And I honestly, Lay's classic chips, they're not bad. I mean, they would not be my go-to though. And I honestly, I don't think these are on here, but baked Lay's, like the baked original Lay's, are so good. I haven't had those in a long time either, but man, baked Lay's or baked chips in general are just really good for whatever reason. Man, I want to say Lay's, but I gotta go Lay's. It's just a classic. You gotta go with just like an actual staple, you know? It has just that history on it. Oh. Excuse me. We've got Bugles versus Chips Ahoy. I'm going Chips Ahoy. I don't even need to explain that one. Bugles aren't bad, but like, when was the last time you had Bugles? Think about that. Like, next up we have Cheez-Its versus Cheese Balls. I was trying to see if I can make a joke off that, but I can't. Cheez-Its, 100%. That's not even a question. Cheese Balls aren't bad, I guess, but Cheez-Its are just they're S tier. Especially if you get the white cheddar cheese. Those are just regular, so I'm not going to count in like white cheddar for that, but like with the white cheddar Cheez-Its are really good. We have so now we're in the second round of this left side. We have the graham crackers versus the crunchy Cheetos. I'm going with the Cheetos. Next matchup we have is animal crackers versus ding dongs. Dude, I'm gonna go animal crackers. I don't know if that's controversial or not. I haven't had ding dongs in a long time. I haven't had animal crackers in a long time either, but animal crackers are just really good. Like I would rather have animal crackers and crackers or crackers. I would rather have animal crackers now than I would ding dongs, which is close, but I mean, you know, I think ding dongs are good, but like you could have a brownie that's like almost similar, and somebody's gonna get triggered by that for sure. All right, we got Orville Redenbacher popcorn versus Lay's classic. I'm gonna go with the Lay's because the popcorn gets stuck in your teeth. I said I wasn't gonna hold it against it the first round, but second round I definitely will. Now I have Chips Ahoy versus Cheez-Its. I'm going Cheez-Its. Chips Ahoy are the inferior cookie to Oreos, and I think Cheez-Its is probably, you could make an argument maybe, but I think Cheez-Its is probably the superior cheese cracker, so it has to go through. We got crunchy Cheetos versus animal crackers. See, here's the thing. I prefer Puffs, to be honest, for Cheetos, but I would prefer the Flamin' Hot Cheetos over this. Like the crunchy Flamin' Hot is fine. So is it crazy to put animal crackers in the semifinals? I'm putting animal crackers in the semifinals. You can all message me or comment about it. I don't care. It's my podcast. I'm a white man with a bad opinion. What else is new? That's just how society is. All right, we have Lay's classic chips versus Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its, 100%. Okay. Animal crackers versus Cheez-Its. Yeah, I will say the kid in me wants to go with animal crackers, but I think deep down I know Cheez-Its has got to win. Even if you just go with the plain Cheez-It, the plain Cheez-It is very good. But if you consider the variety of the Cheez-It, you can get so many different kinds, and like it's just so good. I am basing it just off of this, and so like regular Cheez-It just won over that. But when you just think about like the brand Cheez-It is it a brand? Yeah, whatever. As a whole, like there's a lot of good like varieties that they have done, and they deserve their props. And I think a lot of people will agree with me on that one. I don't think that was too controversial. I don't think I'm getting too crazy yet. But there's a whole second side of the bracket that we're about to start, so we'll see. All right. First up is the Golden Oreo versus Quaker Chewy Chocolate Chip granola bars. I used to have those a lot when I was a kid, but I'm going to go with the Golden Oreo. When it comes to Oreo, it's just really hard to like go against it. I mean, there's probably a couple flavors that aren't great, but Famous Amos, is it Famous Amos or Famous Amos? Famous Amos sounds like I'm saying anus. Famous Amos, what does it say? It's a cookie, chocolate chip and pecans, however you say it. I don't know. I don't even know how I say it. Versus Nutty Buddy. Oh, the Little Debbie Nutty Buddies were so good. I used to have these in my lunch all throughout high school. Oh, I love them. I'm going Nutty Buddy. These probably won't win, but I do have, just for nostalgia's sake, I used to have them all the time, so I got to choose them. All right, we got some Little Debbie Honey Buns versus some pistachios. Oh, this is not a good matchup. I'm not a huge fan of either of these. I don't hate pistachios, but there are other nuts that I would prefer. I'm moving on from that. All right. I'm moving on from that. I'm gonna go Honey Buns. I can't even talk right now. Speaking of nuts I'd prefer, we got peanuts. Planters Peanuts versus, Vanilla Pudding. Well, Planters Peanuts is going to win because it's pudding. Um, barbecue Lay's chips versus string cheese. That's actually so hard. Oh my god. Barbecue flavored chips are some of my favorites. Probably top 5 of my favorite type of chips, like is barbecue flavored. Might even be top 3. I'd have to really think about that, but definitely top 5. But I love string cheese, and I really love string cheese. Oh man, that's really hard. But I will say this about string cheese: I don't eat it right. I did not realize the way you were supposed to eat string cheese till I was probably at least like 14 years old. I'm not even being funny. I still eat them like this to this day. I just chomp into them. I don't like peel it and eat it because I didn't know you're supposed to do that until I was, like I said, 14. And I'm not joking. I was very surprised when I learned that, but I'm not gonna change my ways because I'm not patient enough to do that. You know what I mean? So this is really hard. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go barbecue. Oh, dude, that's so hard. I'm gonna go with the barbecue chips, but this is a 50-50. This is a legitimate 50-50 for me. I gotta be more in the right mood to just have cheese by itself too. Like chips, I can have with almost anything, but like the string cheese, it's like you gotta be in the right mood for. We have Chex Mix versus Welch's Fruit Snacks. I'm going fruit snacks. I haven't had fruit snacks in a long time, but that is a staple of any childhood snack right there is fruit snacks. All right, and we have some of my favorite chips of all time with the Nacho Cheese Doritos versus Little Debbie birthday cakes. I've never even had those, so Nacho Cheese Doritos, they would have won that anyways. All right, now we got Chewy Chips Ahoy versus just regular classic Oreo. Oreo's going to win that easily. All right, now we're on to the second round of this side of the bracket. We got Golden Oreo versus Nutty Buddy. I'm going Nutty Buddy. I've only had Golden Oreos like maybe once in my life, maybe twice, and so I don't have a good opinion on them. This upper side of this bracket's really bad. We have Honey Buns versus Peanuts. What would I rather have as a snack? Peanuts for sure. I love peanut butter. Like Reese's is my favorite candy. I like chocolate peanut butter, anything I really like. Like peanut butter, I'm a huge fan of. All right, we got barbecue chips versus Welch's Fruit Snacks. Man, Lay's. It's the Lay's barbecue chips, in case you forgot. Wow, that's tough. That is actually tough, in my opinion. See, as a kid, I would have gone with the fruit snacks, but as an adult, I think I'd go with the barbecue chips. And that's hard, and I feel like I'm gonna upset somebody either way. I'm gonna go with the barbecue chips. I'm gonna go with that. They're a little more versatile. You can have them with more things, in my opinion. And this right here, what I'm about to say, should be arguably this should be the championship matchup, at least the semifinal matchup, but it's unfortunately happening here. We got the Nacho Cheese Doritos versus Oreos, just like the classic Oreos. Man, no matter what I choose here, somebody's going to be upset. And that somebody could be me. That somebody's going to be me, too. But it's going to be people listening to this are probably like vouching for the Doritos or vouching for the Oreos, which is fair. I think, honestly, as much as it's hard for me to say this, I think I'm going to go with Oreo because, in my opinion, when you think of getting like cookies for when you're at the store and you're going to buy cookies as a snack, you're probably going to go with Oreos of some variety, whether it's classic or not. I mean, classic for sure, because like the classic is still really good. But like, you know, Doritos, like there's a lot of really good variations to the nacho cheese flavor. But like classic Oreo is just one of the best cookies of all time. And Oreo, the brand itself, is, in my opinion, just so far ahead of the next person up in the cookie game, you know? Like you have the Oreos way up high, way up high, and then like number 2, like way down is like Chips Ahoy or whatever. So I'm gonna go with Oreo. Sorry, Nacho Cheese Doritos. Nacho Cheese Doritos are really good, but there's also really good flavors of Doritos. There's like Cool Ranch. People like the spicy sweet chili. I like the spicy nacho flavor. That's one of my favorites. All right, so next matchup is Nutty Buddy versus Peanuts. See, I'm telling you, this top side of the bracket's really weak. Something that shouldn't be this far in is going to make it really far in, and I'm sorry about that, but that's just how the bracket was made. So do not hate on me. I think Doritos versus Oreos should have been the final matchup for this side of the bracket, but it wasn't. I'm going to go with Nutty Buddy, honestly. They're solid. Chocolate peanut butter combination, very good. Peanuts are good too, but I don't know. They leave me a little more. There's a little more to be desired with them. Now I have Lay's barbecue chips versus Oreos. I'm going Oreos all day. We have Oreos versus Nutty Buddy. Oreos, Nutty Buddy shouldn't even be up here, but that side of the bracket was just so bad. Final matchup, we have Cheez-Its versus Oreos in the championship round. Now, do I need to think about this one? No, I don't. And if you disagree with me, I kind of see it, but I really don't. I think Oreo is superior there. I really do. I mean, Cheez-It is probably more of a snack item, but Oreo is just superior. The brand itself, the cookies, it's so good. So I gotta go with the Oreo. But Cheez-Its are good too. I love Cheez-Its. So don't be mad at me, okay? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Anyways, I'm sure one of my friends, probably Eric or Jose or Josh, will text me and say that they can't believe that I was sleeping on vanilla pudding or some crap like that. They always like to mention how bad I messed up. That's what friends do, I guess, you know. All right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was good. Hope you guys don't hate the new setup. I tried to look at the camera a bit, but it is a little harder for me because it's right there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this new. It's not. I shouldn't say new, but the potential new solo setup. I think it's, like I said, it's easier for me. So I'm hoping like you guys. I don't think a lot of you guys really care, but I do want you guys to at least have a say. I don't want it to be like, I hate this or whatever. This sucks compared to the other one, because I'm open. So, anyways, in 2 weeks from now, it's gonna be the 28th. So we're almost gonna be done with September by the time that I record next. So that's crazy. I hope you guys enjoy your September. I hope you guys continue to do well. Sun's about to go away a bit. Well, it already is away in some places of the world, but like if you live, West Coast shit, or a lot of places in the U.S., there's still a lot of sun right now. And if you end up, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm losing my mind. Oh, just be careful because it's a lot easier to get gloomy and sad, once you can get seasonal depression. So just be careful. Keep an eye on that. Try to get, your vitamin C and vitamin D, other ways. Try to, find other things that give you energy and stuff like that. Obviously, the sunshine brings out the happiness in all of us. But if you live in the Pacific Northwest like I do, we're about to start our 10 months of rain soon. So we got to buckle up. So just keep an eye on yourself. Do things that you like. Do things that calm you down, make you relax a bit, I know for me, I'm trying to relax a lot more because I have a hard time relaxing and just not doing stuff. So, and especially since I wasn't doing a whole lot during the summer, I'm now that I'm working, I'm all right, let's go. I want to do a bunch of stuff. So anyways, take care of yourselves. Take care of your mental health. I'm wishing you good mental health. Be good to one another. All that boring stuff. If you want to be mean to one another, I don't care. I'm not the police. I can't do anything about it, I mean, you shouldn't be mean to people. But if you are, it's like, what am I gonna do? I don't control you. So do whatever you want to do, but just don't kill somebody. That I just don't recommend. That I strongly don't recommend. But anyways, this is something so stupid. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you in 2 weeks for next episode. I hope that, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm just rambling at this point. All right, I'll be seeing you. Bye.